Hey guys, it's Dark Siege, and if you check the daily special offer, they just introduced, I think, four more people, and one of those being Babur. So currently, of the four siege commanders, three of them are going to be available in the daily special offer. Uh, Currently, you have to wait 7 days as of this recording. So Babur's coming, and then you have Gajamata already there, and Margaret. And so in my original video I made with Margaret and Gajamata, I questioned why they did it like that because both of those were amplifiers. And now they just popped in the third. So three of the four, right? So Cordova is the one that's not. And Cordova can be argued as one of the most powerful, but I think Margaret can easily fall into that category because she's so versatile. You can put her with basically anybody. So I've been asked this question many times, like who to get in the daily offer. And with Babur coming up, I just want to hedge that off and make the video. So I guess I know what I would do if I was going to do Siege, right? But I know my goals. And the big question is, what's your goal? Like, what are you going to do? Are you trying to make one pair, two pair? Like, you want to go first Siege Commander? Or you're like, hey, man, I just want to have one pair and I'm good. And so let's explore that a little bit. Obviously, if you want to go full siege, you want to have multiple pairs, then buy them all, right? And how you put them together, like that's another video I'll be making, right? If you want to go one pair and you want to make one pair and you're only going to use the ones that are in the daily special, then I'll ask you one other question. Do you want one that's super tanky or one that's going to push more DPS? And here we go. If you want one that is super tanky, then I would go with Babur as your primary and Gajamata as your secondary. It's still going to do great DPS, but it can take some hits. It has a bunch of buffs, right? When you go through it. Um, and cool, it'll show you here, right? The defense and health bonus. Health is 30%, defense is 40, right? And then this gets extra rage. And it's a great pairing with Margaret because Margaret has her talent, her skill tree, which gets more rage. Look at Gajamata. He's got the siege attack bonus, and I know he has okay. The health bonus is 40%. March speed bonus. He does some damage. Uh, March speed reduction, defense, attack bonus, right? And then he does some healing as well, which is awesome, right? And then you have Margaret. Margaret is so versatile. You can put her with someone who does smite and someone who does skill damage. She can go with both. And so if you're looking again just for these people in the daily offer, I would say there's one, two, maybe three good marches, right? You could go with Margaret and you could push Babur as the one I would recommend if you're just off the shelf, I think is the best with that combination, right? And then if you have your armaments that support skill damage, then you're doing great. If you want a really tanky march, then you can go with Babur and Gajamata. But by and far, I think I would just do Margaret and Babur and I would call it a day. Now, if you're like, hey, I'm thinking of making one, two marches, or hey, I would like to be able to get one march from the daily offer, and then depending on what new comes out, I might want that. And a lot of that is going to be like a wait and see. But the safe bet feels like Margaret because she can be paired with just about anybody and do such a great job. But if you're going to do that, I can tell you right now, you can go Margaret with Gonzalo de Cordova and pump out a ton of damage as well, right? If you're going to introduce like, hey, I'm going to, still put money and or gold heads into Cordova, then you could match Cordova with Gajamata or with Margaret. and it kind of depends like what you want to do. One thing I'm going to mention is you could get one strong range march and you don't have to get anything else. I am going to suspect that you can get one strong range march, right? And that's either Margaret and Babur, Babur and Gajamata, or if you want to go like two marches and you want to do the traditional that's already come out with Margaret and Babur, and then Cordova and Gajamata, those are your two, right? But if you're just looking for one march, you can get any of the combinations I said, and that march is probably going to be good for 5 years, maybe even longer, just by the function of how it functions, right? It shoots from afar, and you're only taking counter damage. It's a strong march, however you look at it, provided you can see the battle movement, and when you break down and leave, you just need one march, right? If you're running other marches, I wouldn't recommend getting more than one. If you're running other marches, if you're full siege, then yeah, man, get everything. But you're not going to go wrong. Like if you do it right, like hey, I'm going to do T5, I'm going to get legendary gear, and I'm going to max everything out. That march will last you probably as long as you play this game, right? Um, and I would be shocked if it didn't, just by the nature of how Siege functions, unless they start throwing in some major, um, handicaps on Siege. All right, hopefully it's clear as mud. Because Siege is really powerful, you can go with a lot of different options. So if you wanted to get Babur, let me just sum it up real quick. If you wanted to get Babur and Gajamata, you could. If you wanted to get Margaret and Babur, that would be awesome, and you'd be good to go. Or if you want to get either Gajamata or Margaret and pair that with Cordova, you'd be fine. I mean, there's really a lot of options here. It's just kind of like what you feel best, and the two top marches right now, I think, would be either Margaret and Cordova or Cordova and Gajamata. And I think you could argue that each one of them, because Margaret, man, she fires off quick and she burns through, right? And she can get a lot of damage out quick. And Cordova just takes a few minutes, right? But still very powerful. It's got AoE, right? So it really depends on how you want to handle your siege march and what you think is best. And I can tell you, they're all going to do well for you, right? You're like almost splitting hairs at some point. And I would say just pull the trigger and do it if you're going to do it. If you're waiting for the new ones to come out, so be it. But I'm telling you right now, if you want to save gold heads, right here in the daily offer, you have enough between these three to make a strong march with Margaret and Babur, or Babur and Gajamata, and you're not going to be disappointed. They're going to be strong. All right. If you handicap them by only running T4s and only having epic gear, well, that's your decision. But this is a march that if you plan to use, it's going to be good for years. I'm talking years. Just do it right, man. Go full board, have fun, range rocks, and hopefully you guys make a good decision and have some fun. Feel free to reach out to me. There's Discord as well. See you guys, range rocks.